Okay, so we're at the bottom of Lamed Ches Amud Beis at the Mishnah, and we begin a new subject here. Zok the Mishnah, Ein Neisnin Beye B'tzad HaMeichem. You're not allowed to place an egg near a hot kettle. B'shvil shetizgalgal. In order that it should be lightly roasted. So what we're talking about over here is this Lashon shetizgalgal is an unusual term. Tizgalgal literally means that it will roll. When you have a raw egg, it doesn't roll well. When you roast it, when it's cooked, it rolls better. So therefore, the expression for roasting an egg in Lashon Kodesh is shetizgalgal. Don't break open an egg on a hot handkerchief that has been heated up by the sun. Rabbi Yosi mater. However, Rabbi Yosi argues and says you are allowed to cook the egg or fry the egg in the heat of this handkerchief that was heated up from the sun. You may not hide the egg inside hot sand or the sand that there is on the ways in order for the egg to get fried in this, or cooked or roasted in this sand. There was a story with the Anshe Tveria. Now, this next part of the Mishnah, it's not clear in connection to which part of the previous part of the Mishnah it's being said. The Gemara will clarify that. But here's the story. The story of Anshe Tveria was, they ran a pipe of cold water into a pool of the hot water of Tveria. As we know, Tveria is the place where you have the hot springs from Chame Tveria. So they had cold water, and they wanted to use this cold water to be able to wash themselves with it on Shabbos. So they ran a pipe of this cold water through the Chame Tveria, and then that water went out into another area, into a pool where they can bathe themselves with it. Again, so what did they do? They ran a pipe of cold water through the hot water of Tveria. The Chachamim said to them, if the water is heating up on Shabbos, it's like you heated up the water on Shabbos itself. Water that you heated up on Shabbos itself, you may not use it to bathe yourself with it, you may not use it to drink either. In b'yamtiv, if this was done on yamtiv, so then it's kechamin shehuchmu b'yamtiv. It's as if you heated it up on yamtiv, even though it got heated up itself, but it's as if it got heated up on yamtiv. V'asurim b'rechitze u'mutarim b'reshtiya. You're not allowed to use it to wash, but you are allowed to use it to drink on yamtiv. If you heat up water on yamtiv, you're allowed to drink the water on yamtiv. The Gemara will explain many, many more details that are relevant to the pshat of this second half of the Mishnah. And we'll wait till we get to the Gemara soon. The question was asked, Gilgil Mai. What's the halacha with an individual that roasted the egg near a hot kettle? So the question over here is he chayiv chatos? Is this considered to be real cooking, that it's a chayiv d'oraisa? Although he didn't fully roast it, it's only partially roasted. That's one point. And second of all, the Rishonim point out there's a few things that this is different than regular cooking. And second of all, he did not cook it directly on a fire. He's putting it near the heat of a kettle that was heated up on a fire. So the question is whether he's chayiv chatos for this. Omer Rav Yosef responded, Gilgal chayiv chatos. If you roasted the egg this way, partially roasted even, near the hot kettle, you chayiv chatos. So now he brought a proof for this. We saw this also in a Mishnah. What does the Mishnah say? This is a Mishnah later in Shabbos here. Kol sheba b'chamen, l'lifnei Shabbos. That Mishnah there is talking about cooking fish that could be cooked by placing it into hot water. That's not on a fire necessarily, but you put it into very hot water to cook this fish. So kol sheba b'chamen l'lifnei Shabbos. If the fish was already cooked in the hot water before Shabbos, shayrenaisei b'chamen b'Shabbos. You may soak it again in this hot water on Shabbos, since it was already cooked. So therefore, when you're cooking it again, you're not preparing it, you're not cooking it. It was already cooked before. If it was not yet cooked, it was not yet placed in the hot water before Shabbos, so then all you're allowed to do with this fish is you can rinse it off with hot water on Shabbos, but you're not allowed to cook it in the hot water. You're not allowed to soak it in the hot water because it wasn't yet cooked before Shabbos. Chotz min hameliach yashan, besides a old salted fish, basically like herring, or kol yisa spanin, some other kind of fish, shahadachasan zuhi gemar melachtan. Just rinsing it with hot water, this is sufficient for them to be cooked, to be able to be used on Shabbos. So Shmami, no, from here we see the same applies regarding the egg. Just by roasting it partially, by putting it near the hot kettle, and that makes it fit for eating, that is also considered to be the malacha of bishul and yechayev chatos. The Gemara goes to the next part of the Mishnah. V'lo yafkiyena besudrin. Don't break open an egg on a hot handkerchief. Frek the Gemara. V'ho ditnan. This that we learned in another Mishnah. Neisnim tafshil l'toicha boir. You're allowed to place food inside a pit. Now this is in the times when they had no fridges, so in order to keep it cold, they would place it in a pit to keep it preserved there. B'shvil sheyeh shomer, to be preserved. V'samayim ayofim b'roim, and you could also add good cold water into warm water or stale water, b'shvil sheyeh tzananu, in order to cool it off. We'll learn in Mitzvah Shem later in the Gemara on Kuf Mem Vav. It'll explain what's the chiddush of these two cases. It seems to be pretty obvious. What would be the Isser on Shabbos? We'll see when we get there. But then it says, V'satzainon b'chama b'shvil sheyechamu. You're allowed to place cold water in the sun in order to get heated up from the sun. So now the question of the Gemara is, Leime, shall we say, Rabbi Yosi, that Mishnah that says that you're allowed to heat up cold water in the sun follows the opinion of Rabbi Yosi that said in our Mishnah that you're allowed to crack open an egg on a handkerchief that was heated up by the sun? But according to the Tanna Kama that says you're not allowed, so you shouldn't be allowed to place a cup of cold water to get heated up by the sun either. And therefore that Mishnah there does not fit with the opinion of the Rabbanon. Rav Nachman responds, no, there's a difference here. Bechama, if you're heating up a cold cup of water directly from there's a heat of the sun, everybody will agree that that's permitted, and the reason is, Rashi says, this is called bishul shaloi kedarkai. Regular bishul is by a source of fire. Here, the source of heat is coming from the sun. This is not the regular kind of bishul, and therefore everybody would agree it's permitted. Now when you're heating something with something that became hot from the sun, the handkerchief that became heated from the sun, that's called teil desire. One second, let me just go back to that. Teil desire means something that was heated from fire. You're not heating something directly from the fire itself, but you're heating it from something that became hot from the fire. Like in the case of the Mishnah, when you're heating the egg, you're cooking the egg from the hot kettle that was heated from the fire. Nobody argues that that's for sure forbidden. Just like you're not allowed to cook from the fire itself, you're not allowed to cook from the heat of something that was heated from fire. Where's the argument? When you have something that became hot from the sun, the case of the handkerchief of our Mishnah that became hot from the sun. The Tanna Kama says that these two could be confused. When you have something that's very hot and it's not clear if the source of the heat is because it got heated up from fire or it got heated up from the sun. So since they could be confused, so there's a decree not to heat, not to cook with either one of them. Umar Savar, Rabbi Yosi's opinion is like Rinon. There's no gzeira. If it's from the fire or it's from the heat came from the fire, it's forbidden. If it's from the sun or if it's indirectly, it's something that got heated up from the sun. There was no gzeira, and you're allowed to cook with that on Shabbos. The next case in the Mishnah was v'lo yatminena b'choil. You should not place eggs inside the sand to heat up within the sand that became hot from the sun. Frag the Gemara v'lifloig nami Rabbi Yosi b'ha. Why wouldn't Rabbi Yosi argue on this case as well? If you look in the Mishnah, he's only arguing on the case where he broke open an egg onto a handkerchief, and then it brings this case of hiding the egg inside the sand, and Rabbi Yosi doesn't argue. Why not? If Rabbi Yosi says it's permitted to heat up in something that became hot from the sun, so there should be a case that Rabbi Yosi says is permitted as well. So the Gemara answers, Rabba Omar, Rabbi explained, Gezeidem. Here, there's a new Gzeida that Rabbi Yosi agrees to as well. What's that Gzeida? Shema Yatmin Beremetz. If you allow a person to to place the egg inside the sand, he may come to place the egg inside coals, and placing egg inside coals is cooking. That's cooking on Shabbos, that's atmana. So therefore, Rabbi Yossi agreed to this case that it would be forbidden. Okay, now the Gemara brings another opinion. Rav Yosef Amar. Rav Yosef said a different reason why here Rav Yossi agrees. Because in order to place the egg into the sand, he has to move the sand away from its place. So Rashi says the issue is if you have earth that's hard and you have to sort of dig into the earth, so then that's a tilde of the malacha of chayrish, plowing on Shabbos. That's Rashi's opinion. Tosfos says the issue will be muktzah. The sand that you're moving away to place the egg inside is muktzah. That's the reason why Rav Yossi agrees that it's forbidden. Now the Gemara explains, my benayu, what is the difference between Rabba's reasoning that it's that you shouldn't come to put it into coals, or the reason of Rav Yosef, that you're moving the earth from the place? And for the Gemara, ikke benayu ofar tichuach. If you have soft earth, and there it's not necessary for the person to dig or to move it, you can just place it in. So over here, there is an issue of a person coming to hide it in coals, but there's no issue of the person digging into the ground. So the Gemara brings from a Braise, Meisvei, we learned in a Braise, you're allowed to roast an egg on top of a roof that is hot from the sun. But if you have very hot lime that was heated up from fire, so that's a tildes ha'oir, which we just said before, everybody agrees is forbidden. So that there you're not allowed to roast the egg on the heat of the sid, of the lime. So now the Gemara is going to analyze regarding the first part of this Braisa where it says you can heat up an egg on a rooftop. The one that says that the gzeira, why you're not allowed to heat up an egg inside sand, is because you might come to put it inside coals, lekel and migzar, so on a rooftop there's no gzeira. Because even if there's sand on the roof, but there's not enough sand that you mamish can hide it inside the sand, like it is in the case of sand on the ground. But if the issue is that you're moving the earth from its place, and that itself is the issue, either because of muktzah or because it's similar to chayrish, as I mentioned before. So, if so, ligzar. On the rooftops, the Gemara at this point is assuming there's sand as well, and in order to put the egg there, you're moving the sand, and it is getting heated up with the sand on the rooftops. And for the Gemara, no, that's not the case. Stam gag les beyofar. Stam, a roof, does not have sand on it, and therefore he's just heating it up on the roof itself that's hot, and that over there's no issue according to either opinion that you're using the sand to heat it up. Now the Gemara brings a raya from what we learned in our Mishnah. Toshema, we learned in our Mishnah, Maise, so the story was, Shasa an Shetverye, Veheviu Siloin Shal Tzainan Letoich Amashal Chamin. They ran a pipe of cold water through the hot springs of Tverye, V'chulu. And what happened? The Chachamim told them, you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos. You're not allowed to have the cold water run through the hot water on Shabbos. Now the question is, why not? If you're going to say the issue over here is that there's atmana, that when you put the egg inside the sand, you're concealing it, you're insulating it inside the sand, so it's like atmana, so therefore you might come to do that in the coals, which is forbidden. Hainu the dami latmana, running a pipe of cold water into a pool of the springs of hot water is also, it's atmana, you're insulating it, it's going through the hot water, and therefore Rabbi Yossi would agree that this is forbidden. But if the only issue of putting the egg inside the sand is because of the muktzah or because of chayrish, that you're moving the sand and you're placing the egg inside the sand, so then well, how would that apply over here to the case of running the pipe of cold water into the hot water? Over here there's no issue of moving the sand. So why would Rabbi Yossi say that this is forbidden? In the Mishnah, it seems like that everybody agrees that this is forbidden. What's the reason? So here, the Gemara clarifies that Rabbi Yossi Taka argues in this case as well. Mi Sovres, do you think Maise Tverya Seifa Koi, that the story with Tverya is connected to the Seifa of the Mishnah, where Rabbi Yossi agreed that it was forbidden at Eishakoi? This story of Tverya is a continuation of what was mentioned earlier in the Mishnah, where it said, Lo Yav Kiyene Besudarin, that you may not crack an egg open in a handkerchief, which became hot from the sun. Rabbi Yossi Mater, on that Rabbi Yossi argues and says that it's permitted. And now, in connection to this case, comes the story of Tverya. And Rabbanan are saying to Rabbi Yossi, we have a proof to our opinion, because the story of Anshe Tverya is the Teildes Chamehi, the heat of the hot springs of Tverya, according to the Rabbanan's opinion. How did it become hot? It becomes hot from the sun. And the Rabbanan told the people of Tverya that you can't run cold water through the hot water that was heated by the sun to heat it up for Shabbos. So there you see that you can't use Teildes Chama, which in that case is the hot water of springs of Tverya, to heat up the cold water. That was the proof they brought against Rabbi Yossi. So what's Rabbi Yossi's response to this? Making a mistake. The Chami Tverya do not get heated up from the sun. They get heated up from fire. What fire? The Cholfi Apischa de Gehenim. Those are waters that come from deep under the ground that pass through the heat of the Gehenim, and that's the source of the heat of the hot springs in Tverya. This is the Gemara, and Sanhedrin says this, that the hot waters, the springs in Tverya, are leftovers from the water of the Mabel, the springs that the ground opened up, the Tahaim opened up by the Mabel, and the Tchame Tverya is the leftovers from the Mabel. Okay, so therefore he says that those waters, reason why the Rabbanan said it's forbidden there, is because it wasn't heated from the sun. It's heated from fire. And everybody agrees, something that gets hot from fire, it's also to use it on Shabbos to heat something up with it. Rav Chisda said, Mimaise, we turn to the next Amud, Mimaise she'asu Anshe Tverya ve'asri luhu Rabbanon, from this story of the Anshe Tverya, that they ran the pipe of cold water through the hot springs of Tverya, and the Rabbanan said it's forbidden. Batla hatmana bedavar ha'meisav hevel. From here we see that you're not allowed to insulate any foods inside something that adds to the heat of the food. Even if you're insulating it from before Shabbos, like it was right over here in this case. The Chame Tverya will make the cold water hot, and it's being insulated. The pipe is running through from before Shabbos, and still it's not allowed to be used as if it was done on Shabbos itself. So this is the source that we see that this is not allowed. Taisvis says here, is this idea that you're not allowed to do atmana, insulate, in something that adds heat. We had this already in the Gemara before. It's a befedish and Mishnah, as we'll see later in the next Perek. But according to one Teretz and the other Rishonim as well say this, it was this story that the Rabbanan said it was Asa, that's the source to this concept that you may not do atmana in something that's Meisif Hevel, that adds heat, even if you're doing it from before Shabbos. Omar Ule, now Ule says, Ule disagrees here. Ule says, Halacha ka'anshe Tverya. We paskin like the people of Tverya, like what they did, and like Rabbi Yossi, that agreed to what the people of Tverya did. Amalei Rav Nachman said, Kvar tavrinu anshe Tverya lesilunayo. It's too late to use this heter, because the people of Tverya, once the Rabbanan told them that it's not permitted, they went and they broke their pipes, and the whole contraption was already taken apart, so therefore they're not using it anymore. Okay, now the Gemara will discuss in much greater length. We're going to go now into a new sugi here of about a blat Gemara discussing taking a bath on Shabbos, washing yourself on Shabbos, showering yourself on Shabbos, and on Yom Tov as well. And it's all connected to this story that we learned here in the Mishnah about washing in the Anshe Tverya. Maise she'asu Anshe Tverya. So, let's see again the continuation of what it said in the Mishnah. So what did it say here? That because of what they did, they ran a pipe of cold water through the hot springs of Tverya. The Chachamim told them, although it's heating up on its own on Shabbos, but it's as if you heated it up on Shabbos itself, and therefore, if it's Shabbos, you may not drink from it, you may not wash from it. If it's Yom Tov, it's as if you heated it up on Yom Tov itself. So on Yom Tov, you're allowed to heat up for food, so you're allowed to drink from it, but you may not wash yourself, like Shabbos, you may not wash yourself with it on Yom Tov. My rechitza, what kind of a washing are we talking about? A person wants to wash or bathe himself. What exactly are we talking about? Are we talking about a person that wants to use this hot water to wash your entire body? So, if there's a question here, Ella, it seems from the Mishnah that what the Rabbanan were telling them is, you know why this is forbidden for you to use on Shabbos? Because it's as if you heated it up on Shabbos itself. But if we would consider it to be that it was heated up from before Shabbos, then mutarim. Then it would be permitted to wash your entire body with this water. Fragt the Gemara, how could that be? But Vatanya, we learned in Abraisa, Chamin shehuchamu me'erev Shabbos, hot water, it was heated from before Shabbos. Lamachar, tomorrow on Shabbos, reichitz behem panav yadav v'raglov, he only may wash his face, his hands, or his feet. Avaloi kol gufay, you may not wash your entire body. So even water that was heated up from before Shabbos, you're not allowed to use to wash your entire body. So over here in our Mishnah, why did the Rabbanan have to say to them, it's as if you heated it up on Shabbos itself, and therefore you're not allowed to use it. Even if it was heated up before Shabbos, you're not allowed to wash your entire body. Now, before we go into this whole sugya here, let me preface a very basic and important point. There's a gzeira that Chachamim made, which is called Gzeiras Merchatz, which was, we'll see soon in the next Amud. The Gemara is going to bring the sources for this. Basically, because the attendants of the bathhouses got into the habit of heating up the merchatz on Shabbos in ways that they thought was permitted, and they would say, oh, we heated it up before Shabbos. So therefore, Chachamim were geyser that even if something, water, that was heated up before Shabbos, you may not wash yourself with it on Shabbos. But, as we see right here, that gzeira was only that you're not allowed to wash your entire body on Shabbos in a bath. But if you're only washing panav yadav v'raglov, your face, hands, and feet, that is allowed on Shabbos. Okay, so the Gemara now continues. So we can't say that our Mishnah is talking about that they were washing their entire body, because then that's part of this gzeira that you never could wash your entire body, even if it was heated up before Shabbos. So therefore the Gemara says, what are we going to have to say? The pshat in our Mishnah is Ela panav yadav v'raglov. The Mishnah here, the Rabbanan were telling them, even just to wash your face, your hands, and your feet, you're not allowed with this water that they ran through the Chamei Tveria, because it's heating up on Shabbos. There's a gzeira that it's heating up on Shabbos that you may not allow to wash even your face, hands, and feet on Shabbos. Now, if that's what the Mishnah is talking about, that they're not washing their entire body, only panav yadav v'raglov, let's see if that would work in the next part of the Mishnah when it discusses Yom Tiv. Be Yom Tiv, regarding Yom Tiv, kechamin shehuchmu be Yom Tiv, it's as if you've heated it up on Yom Tiv itself. V'asurim b'rechitze, you're not allowed to use it to wash yourself, u'mutarim b'shtiyah, but you're allowed to drink from it. So here it's saying you're not allowed to wash even your face, hands, and feet with this water on Yom Tiv. So the question is, are we going to say that in our Mishnah it's telling us the halacha of Yom Tiv like the opinion of Beis Shammai? Now, there's a machlokes here between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel regarding washing your hands, face, and feet on Yom Tiv. Beis Shammai says it's forbidden, and Beis Hillel says it's permitted, as we'll see right now. So it's going to come out. There are Mishnah that says that you're not allowed. It's like Beis Shammai. Stam Mishnah like Beis Shammai. Ditnan Beis Shammai yomrim lo yechem adam chamin l'raglov. You're not allowed to heat up on Yom Tiv water to wash your feet, and the same thing to wash your hands or to wash your face. Elam kein ruyin l'shtiyah. You can heat up the water to drink, and if there's anything left over, so then you'll be able to wash yourself. Beis Hillel matirin. Beis Hillel says that this is a hana of the person, and if it's mutter to heat up the water for drinking, it's also mutter to heat up the water for washing your hands, face, or feet on Yom Tiv. In our Mishnah, though, what did we just say? That it's telling us that if you heat up the water on Yom Tiv, you're not allowed to wash yourself, even with your hands, face, and feet. So it seems like it's following Beis Shammai's opinion. And for the Gemara, no, our Mishnah is actually talking about a third scenario. What is our Mishnah talking about? Our Mishnah is talking about a person that wants to rinse himself. He's not entering into a bath. he wants to rinse himself or basically take a shower from hot water on Shabbos or Yom Tov. So l'shtatev ben kol gufo yaskinon. He's going to wash his entire body on Shabbos or Yom Tov. That's what we're talking about. And that's what our Mishnah is saying, that both on Shabbos and Yom Tov, it's going to be forbidden if you heated it up on Shabbos and Yom Tov, it's going to be forbidden. V'hai tanahu, and it follows this Tana. The Tanya, we learned in Abraisa, Lo yishtatev adam kol gufay. A person should not rinse, should not take a shower on his entire body, bein bechamin or bein betzainin, whether it's hot water and even cold water. The Gzeira divided Rab Meir. Rab Meir says the Gzeira goes so far that we're afraid that a person is going to come to heat up water for a bath and so on, then even with cold water, a person shouldn't wash himself. Rab Shimon mater. Rab Shimon says that it's allowed. It's allowed if the water was heated up before Shabbos, before Yom Tov, so then it's going to be allowed to take a shower with it. Rabbi Yehuda says, B'chamin asur. If it's hot water, then you're not allowed. And b'tzainen, but if it's cold water, mutter, then it is allowed. Okay? So our Mishnah follows Rab Shimon's opinion. Rab Shimon says that you're allowed to take a shower with water that was heated up before Shabbos. So over here, that's why our Mishnah was saying that over here, when they ran this pipe through the Chamei Tveria, they will machmeh here more. It's as if it was done on Shabbos and Yom Tov itself, and therefore you're not allowed to wash yourself. But otherwise, according to Rab Shimon, taking a shower, even your entire body, is allowed to be done on Shabbos and Yom Tov if it was heated up before. Now the Gemara continues and explains this machlokes that we just had over here regarding taking a shower. Amar Rav Chisda explained, machlokes bekeli. The argument over here, whether you're allowed to take a shower with hot water that was heated up before Shabbos or Yom Tov, it's only if we're talking about water that's in a big vessel that you're going to use to pour over yourself. Aval bekarka. But if it's hot water that was heated up before Shabbos and Yom Tov, and it's in a bath or on the ground and not in a keli, Divrei Akol Mutter, everybody says that in that case it's permitted. And Rashi explains that when it comes to a keli, so it's very clear that you especially heated that up to use it for a shower. Okay, so therefore it was heated up from fire, and therefore a person might come to heat it up on Shabbos itself. Whereas if it's just water that's inside a bath, so that's something which doesn't
inside the ground.
On the ground, which l'chayda means also like in a bath, not in a keli. So then over there, you don't have that chash that you can see mamish that he took a keli and heated it up, and therefore a person won't come to heat that up on Shabbos on Shabbos itself. So therefore, the machlokes is only regarding if it's in a keli, but not if it's water in the ground. Then divrei kol mutter. Frag the Gemara. Wait a minute. How does this work? We just explained that our Mishnah is following the opinion of Rab Shimon in this braisa, and the story of Anshe Tveria. They were taking a pipe of water through the Chamei Tveria, and they were washing themselves in this water that's in the ground. Wasn't in a keli. The Rabbanan said it's forbidden. Elo, so therefore the Gemara answers, so therefore we have to say different. Machlokes bekarka. When do they argue when it's in the karka and it's not so clear that it was heated up on a fire? Over there, that's when the machlokes is, if the gzeira applies to this case as well. Avol bekeli, if you have a keli of hot water and it's clear that you heated it up in a fire, divrei akol asa, everybody says you're not allowed to take a shower from that on Shabbos or Yom Tov because it's clear that you heated it up from fire and you're going to come to wash yourself. You're going to come to make a fire on Shabbos or Yom Tov itself for this purpose. Sagt the Gemara weiter, Amar Rabba Baba Chonem, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Halacha Rabbi Yehuda. We paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, that says that you're not allowed to take a hot shower on Shabbos or Yom Tov. Amalei Rav Yosef. Now Rav Yosef asked the question, Befeidish mi'alach? Did you hear this clearly from Rav Yochanan? Or in the klolish mi'alach? Or maybe you just deduced it from something else that he said. And my klola, what would be that place that he understood that this is the opinion of Rav Yochanan? Amar Rav Tanchan, Amar Rav Yochanan, Amar Rav Yanai, Amar Rebbe, Kol Mokem. And this is now a very important rule that you could use for many places in Shas. Kol makim shatamoitz shnaim chalukim. Whenever you have a braysa, mishnah, that two are arguing, and then ve'echad machriya, then comes a third opinion that sort of makes a compromise between the two that argue. Halacha kedivrei machriya. We paskin like the opinion that makes a compromise. Chutz, besides two cases, and we actually had this before already, on Daf Chavtes, mikule matloniyos. When it comes to shmatis, the Gemara there was discussing a shmata, rags. At what point do I say that it's not anymore a keli to be makabel tuma? So there was three opinions there about this. Sha'afal pi Rabbi Eliezer machmer. Rabbi Eliezer was very stringent, and Rabbi Yeshua mekel, and Rabbi Yeshua was on the other extreme very lenient, and Rabbi Akiva machriya. Rabbi Akiva was a compromise in between. I'm not going to go through all the details. We learned this before. It was about whether he placed the rags in the garbage, whether he placed it in a drawer, whether he put it on a peg or behind a door. So Rabbi Akiva had a compromise between the two. Over there, we don't follow Rabbi Akiva's opinion, which is a compromise. Why not? Choder de Rabbi Akiva Talmudhu. Rabbi Akiva is only a Talmud of these other Tanaim, so we don't follow the opinion of a Talmud when his teachers are arguing about this. And v'oid, another thing which we already learned over there, Rabbi Akiva retracted of his opinion and agreed to Rabbi Yeshua, which was lenient about that subject. But besides that case, we always paskin like the one that was machriya. So therefore, what Rabbi Yosef was asking, Rabbi Babachone, when you said that Rabbi Yochanan paskined like Rabbi Yehuda, did you hear that he said befedish that he paskined like Rabbi Yehuda? Or because Rabbi Yehuda is the compromise between Rabbi Meir that's machme here and Rabbi Shimon that's mekel, so we take the machriya. Is that your source? So the Gemara says, V'im echlala. And if he only heard it deduced from this idea that he said that you always follow the one that makes a compromise, what's the issue? So the Gemara says the issue is, Dilma, perhaps this rule that you follow the opinion that's a compromise, maybe that only applies in a Mishnah when you have three opinions. Maybe regarding a Braisa, he did not say this rule. So we don't know whether that rule applies over here, because this was a Braisa where you had the machlekes of Rab Meir, Rab Shimon, and Rab Yehuda. And Rab Yehuda is the compromise opinion, but it's only a Braisa. So Rabbi Babachana responded to Rab Yosef and said, Amaleh ano befeidish mieli. I heard clearly from Rab Yochanan that we paskin like Rab Yehuda, that you're not allowed to take a shower if it's hot water. Okay. Talk to Gemara weiter. Itmar. Now we learned the machlekes regarding the fact that the Chachamim made a gzeira not to take a bath with hot water, even if it was prepared from before Shabbos. That's the basic gzeira that this Gemara is discussing now. So Chamin Shuchma Erev Shabbos. It was heated up before Shabbos. Rav Amar. Rav says, L'machar reichetz ben kol gufa. You could bathe yourself, your entire body, but aver, one limb at a time. The gzeira was only if you bathe yourself like on a weekday with your entire body at once. But if it's one limb at a time, then it's fine. Shmuel Amar, Shmuel says, Lo yitiru lirchaitz el apanav yadav v'raglov. The only thing that was permitted if the water was heated up from before Shabbos is to wash your face, hands, and feet, but not to wash every limb of your body. So Meisvei, the question was asked on Rav's opinion, Chamin shehuchma Erev Shabbos. This is the brayso that we had before. Hot water heated up from before Shabbos. L'machar, tomorrow on Shabbos, reichetz behen panav yadav v'raglov. You can wash only your face, hands, and feet. Avaloi kol gufay, but not your entire body. To Yufta the Rav, this refutes Rav's opinion that you could wash your entire body if you're doing it one limb at a time. Amalach Rav. Rav answers, Loi kol gufay bevasachas. So we're not talking about washing your entire body at once. It says in the Braisa not to wash your entire body. So I never said you could wash your entire body. All I'm saying is you could wash it one limb at a time, and that's permitted. It says in the Braisa only your face, your hands, and your feet, not more than that. And for the Gemara, ke'en panav yadav v'raglov. Just like your face, your hands, and your feet are separate limbs, and you wash them one at a time, so too, you can wash your entire body as long as you're doing it one limb at a time. Toshima, now we have another brayse. Lo yitiru lichatz b'chamesh shuchma Erev Shabbos. You may not wash yourself with hot water prepared from before Shabbos. Elo panav yadav v'raglov. Only your face, hands, and feet, which again seems to indicate that not every limb of your body And for the Gemara, Hachanami, here as well, Rav could give the same answer. Ke'en panav yadav raglov. You can wash every limb of the body as long as you're doing it one at a time, similar to your face, hands, and feet. But now the Gemara brings a clear brayso that says like Shmuel. Tani kavasi de Shmuel, chamin shehochmu merev Shabbos, water heated up from before Shabbos, lamacha tomorrow, reichitz be'em panav yadav raglov. You can wash only your face, hands, and feet. Avoloi kol gufay aver. But you may not wash your entire body, even if you're doing it one limb at a time. Vein tzarech loymar chamin shehuchemu beyomtiv. Needless to say that if it was heated up on yomtiv itself, that you may not wash your entire body, even if it's one aver at a time. So here we see a clear brayso that goes against Rav's opinion. So this refutes Rav's opinion. Now the Gemara is going to bring a different version of what Rav's opinion was. That Rav actually had an even more lenient opinion than what we mentioned till now. What did we say till now? What was Rav's opinion? You could wash yourself for Shabbos with water that was heated up before Shabbos if you're doing it one limb at a time. Now Rabbi says that no, Rabbi Masnilo Hoshmaita de Rav, he learned the opinion of Rav Bahailishna in the following version. Chamin shehochmu me'erev Shabbos, if it was heated up from before Shabbos, l'machar amarav reichitz ben kol gufay. You could actually wash your entire body. Or mishai eiverecha, as long as you leave out one limb, as long as you're making one thing that's different than the way you wash yourself usually, you leave out one limb, you can wash your entire body. Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Eisvei, I'm going to bring Allah in a second. Eisvei, now the question was asked on Rav, Kol Hani to Yufta. All the brises that we brought before, it clearly said only Panav Yadav Raglov. And to Yufta, it remains a question on Rav's opinion. So over here, even the first two brises that were brought before, in the first version of Rav answered it. Ke'en Panav Yadav Raglov. But now Rav is saying you can wash your entire body at once, as long as you leave out one limb. But the brises clearly say only Panav Yadav Raglov. So this refutes Rav's opinion. Amalei Rav Yosef la Abaye. Now Rav Yosef said to Abaye, Rabbe mi ka'ovet k'shmaite de Rav. Did Rabbe wash himself on Shabbos like Rav's leniency? Amalei, so Abaye answered, Lo yadaina, I don't know. Maiti boyele. Now the question of the Gemara is, what was Rav Yosef's question? Pshita lo yavet. For sure he didn't do like Rav. The hahi taisav. We just refuted Rav's opinion. So the Gemara answers, because dilma le shmile. Maybe he didn't hear that Rav's opinion was refuted. Frek the Gemara, he didn't hear. So if so, v'yule shmile, if he didn't hear, vade of it. He definitely followed Rav's leniency. Why? The Amar Abaye, and we had this already before in the Gemara. Kol mili demar ovid karav. Rabbe would always do like Rav's opinion. Bar mahani tlas, besides 3 cases, David Kishmol, where he passed like Shmuel. What are the 3 cases? Matilin mi beged le beged. You can take tzitzis from one old beged and put it into a new beged. Umadlikin mi ner le ner. You could light Shabbos candles, Chanukah candles, that is, from one candle to another candle. And v'halacha kerab Shimon begrede, you can drag a bench on the ground, even though it might make an indent into the ground. So those are the only 3 cases that he paskened like Shmuel. Otherwise, he always paskened like Rav. So if he didn't hear that Rav's opinion was refuted, for sure he paskened like Rav. And for the Gemara, kechumre de Rav Ovid. Rabba would be machma like Rav all the time. Kekula de Rav lo yavid. Like the leniencies of Rav, he didn't necessarily follow. So that was the reason why he had a question over here. So of course we paskin like Shmuel, that you're not allowed to wash yourself on Shabbos, take a bath with water that was heated up before Shabbos, even if it's only one aver at a time. Needless to say that you're not allowed to take a full bath on Shabbos with any water that was heated up before Shabbos. So of course the big question that comes up over here is beneged to mikvah on Shabbos. How are you allowed to go into a mikvah with your entire body into the water that was heated up from before Shabbos? So there are those that only go into a cold mikveh for that reason on Shabbos. But even those that go into a hot mikveh, so Poskim say that because you're not going in to wash yourself off, you're going in for the purpose of a mikveh, you enter in and you tovel and you come right out. The gzeira of Chazal was only not to wash yourself, but not for a mikveh where you go in to be tovel in the mikveh and come right out. There's many poskim that speak about it, the Karban Asanel, the Noda B'Yehuda, and others, and there's Hatayim that are given for this, and of course it's relevant first and foremost for women that are obligated to go to the mikveh on a Friday night and Shabbos, and then it's relevant for the men that have a minhag to go to the mikveh Shabbos morning as well. So therefore, they say a mikveh is different. It's not part of the gzeira of rechitza in a merchet where you're washing yourself on Shabbos.
Taking a shower with cold water on Shabbos.
Shabbos and a cold water, you can take a shower. If it's cold, we don't paskin like Rab Meir. Rab Meir said you're not allowed to take cold water. We paskin like Rab Yehuda that says hot water you're not allowed, but cold water you are allowed.
Even cold gufay.
Yeah, even cold gufay. You can wash cold gufay. Yes, there are some people that do it these days when you can't go to a mikveh and you want to have the replacement of a mikveh, which we learned about in Brachas, Tisha Kabin. So you use a shower, and on Shabbos you can't use a hot shower. You can take a cold shower for about 2-3 minutes. It's pretty harsh. You take a freezing cold shower for 2-3 minutes, and that is a replacement for a mikveh, and that can be done even on Shabbos.
What about Yom Tov now?
Huh?
Yom Tov?
Yom Tov is not so pashut. Yom Tov is a machlokes. There could be a heter to take even a warm shower, a hot shower on Yom Tov. And people do it. There's some Rabbanim say not to, some Rabbanim say yes to. It's a bit of a controversial issue. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but there's definitely room for a heter to take a warm hot shower on Yom Tov.
And a bath sink.
Huh?
The bath?
I'm not sure about that, because as we learned here in the Gemara, a shower is different than a bath. A bath is a much stronger gzeira. There's a rechitza in a bath, and there's yishtatif, which is only a shower. A shower is much more lenient. So I'm discussing a shower only. Okay, let's learn a little bit more of the Gemara. So now here the Gemara brings the original Braisa, which is the source of the whole sugi that we're learning about the gzeira of Chazal that they made, not to take a shower or not to take a bath, primarily with water that was heated up before Shabbos and Yom Tov. Tana Rabbanan. So now we learned in the Braisa the story was as follows. First, the din they said is as follows. Merchat shepokakun ukavav me'erev Shabbos. So if you have a bathhouse where they plugged up the holes from before Shabbos. There are two opinions in Rashi what this means. One opinion in Rashi is they heated up the water before Shabbos and then they plugged it up and to have that water available for Shabbos. Another pshat Rashi says is in those days the way they heated up the hot water of the baths before Shabbos was they had a bath and then in the basement they had a fire and there were vents where the heat from the fire would enter into the bath to heat it up. So over here they closed those vents of the fire from before Shabbos, that it's not heating it up on Shabbos, it was heated already before Shabbos. L'matzah Shabbos, as soon as Shabbos is over, reichitz by miyad. You can use this water to wash yourself immediately. You did not heat up this water on Shabbos, so you don't have to wait. You can use that water that you heated up from before Shabbos right after Shabbos. I guess granted that it's still hot to whatever extent you want to use it, 24 hours later. Pakaku nikavav me'erev Yom Tiv. If you left the vent open and it's heating up on Shabbos, or you
it was closed off.
No, sorry, again, let me start over again. Pakakunukavav, again, the same case, where he closed off the vents or he plugged it that the water doesn't leave. Me'erev Yom Tiv, from before Yom Tiv. And as Taisus over here points out, even though a moment ago we said Shabbos, and now we're saying Yom Tiv, but really the halacha of Shabbos and Yom Tiv is the same. L'machar, tomorrow on Shabbos or on Yom Tiv, nichnas u'mezia. You're allowed to go into this room of the bathhouse just for a steam bath. You're not allowed to go into the water itself. You can go in just for the steam. V'yaitze, then you have to come out from that room. U'mishtatev b'bayis achitzen, and you can rinse yourself off in the outside room, but not inside, because if you rinse yourself off inside, it would seem like you went into the bath itself. Rav Yehuda said, Maise b'merchat shel Bnei Brak. The incident that happened in a bathhouse in Bnei Brak was shepakakun nekavav me'erev Yom Tiv. They plugged it up from before Yom Tiv, and l'machar tomorrow on Yom Tiv, nichnas Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and Rabbi Akiva. Both Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and Rabbi Akiva went into this bathhouse. V'hiziu boy, and as we just said, you're allowed to. They went in just for the steam bath, and v'yatzu, they went out. V'nishtatfu b'bayis achitzen. And they washed themselves off in the outside room. Rinsed themselves off, that is. The bath itself was covered over with boards, that it should be clear that it wasn't heated up on Shabbos or Yom Tov itself. Kishabah Dav Lefnei Chachamim, when this incident came in front of the Chachamim, Amru, the Chachamim said, you're allowed to do this, even if it's not covered over with boards. The Braisa continues, and then when people that were doing Averis and weren't following the guidelines of the Chachamim were many. There were many that weren't following these guidelines. They said that it's forbidden to enter into a bathhouse of large cities, even just for a steam bath. But you can walk through them, and that doesn't matter. As we'll see soon, in the bathhouses of the large cities, the room is large enough that if you just walk through, it's not steamy enough that you're taking a steam bath just by walking through. So you're allowed to walk through. Now, the Gemara says, "My oivri aveda." What was the oivri aveda? Or perhaps this is still part of the Braisa. What's oivri aveda? What happened? What happened was, in the beginning, they allowed to wash yourself with hot water that was heated from before Shabbos. You can take a bath. Then the bathhouse attendants were heating it up on Shabbos itself. And they would tell people, it was heated up from before Shabbos. So then this is the source of the Gzeira, Osru Esachamen. They made the Gzeira that you're not allowed to wash yourself, you're not allowed to take a bath on hot water that was heated from before Shabbos. But the Hitirus Isaiah, they still allowed to enter into a room for a steam bath. But then people would go into the bath, and they would go in, they would take a bath, and they would come out, and they would say, we're just there to take a steam bath. So then the Chachamim asered also not only to take a bath, but also not a steam bath. But v'hitiru Chamei Tverya. Chamei Tverya, the hot springs of Tverya, that they said they still allowed that. But people were still washing, taking a bath in a bath that was heated up with fire, which is different than Chamei Tverya. As we learned before, the Chamei Tverya is not heated up from fire, it's heated up from the sun, right? According to the Chachamim. So therefore it's different. But people were saying, they would take a bath, and people would ask him, oh, you look so washed, so beautiful, where did you take a bath? They would say, oh, we went to the Chamei Tverya. So therefore, Osrula and Chamei Tverya, they said that you're not allowed to even take a bath, even in the springs of Tverya either. And the only thing you can wash yourself off with, take a bath with, is if it's cold water. But then, they saw that people cannot keep this gzeira, not to even take a bath in Chamei Tverya. So they allowed to take a bath in Chamei Tverya, but the gzeira, not to even take a steam bath, that gzeira remained. So you're not allowed to take a bath or a steam bath, those two gzeiras remained. This is the source, this is the Braisa, the source of the Gzeira that Chachamim made, not to take a bath or a steam bath with water that was heated up from before Shabbos. Now, this the Gemara says, a side point, Omar Rava, Haiman the Ovad Adarabanan. From here we see someone that transgresses on a Gzeira of the Chachamim, Shari L'Mikrele Avaryona. You can refer to him as a person that's a person that's a Ovid Averis. He's transgressing on a Gzeira of the Chachamim. Keman, according to who? Like in this Braisa, the people that were in keeping to the Gzeira of the Chachamim that said that you shouldn't take a bath in water that was heated up from before Shabbos, the Braisa calls them Oivrei Aveira.
Like in Tanya.
Huh? Yeah.
Tanya.
That what? That a person that's Oiv al Divrei Seifrim is Nikri Rasha. Yeah, very good. Okay. So this is from here you see this point. Just a few more lines. Let's finish off till Tan Rabbanon. So what did it say in the Braisa? When you have bathhouses of the big cities, you're allowed to stroll through them. But and it's not a problem. We're talking about larger bathhouses in the big cities, so you can stroll through them. But smaller bathhouses in villages, you may not walk through them. My time, even the zutrin, because they're much smaller. Nafesh avlayu, there's a lot of steam in the room, and just walking through them would be equivalent to taking a steam bath. And therefore, over there, the gzeira does apply. Okay, we'll stop over here. We got a little bit ahead of ourselves, and Amir Hashem, after Yom Tif and the following few days, will be mashlim whatever we missed over Yom Tif. Everyone should have a very, very, very good Yom Tov, a gesunte Yom Tov, a freiliche Yom Tov. And don't forget the last days of Yom Tov are connected to Mashiach. So let us be zeichel together to experience the coming of Mashiach here. L'matam asar tvachim. Take it from Yad Mamish.